Hello everyone, this is Monstertamer Bisloba coming at you with another video. We're visiting Kubberz here. You probably saw some of my pre-alpha gameplay of it, and now we're here with the alpha, and we actually have quite a few people from the dev team here. If you guys would like, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves to everyone.
Hey, hi.
Sure.
Hey guys,
Yeah. Hey guys.
my name is Fabio.
We have Fabio. My name is Louis. We have Tarsis and Mobile here. We're all from the Kubberz team. We're going to be glad to, uh, answer any questions that Boba has. And if you guys have any questions, you can also ask in the comments.
Alright, so we're here, we're trying out my first game of the alpha here, and the AI has killed one of my Kubberz while I was trying to set up recording. The AI is brutal, I can attest to that much, just to let you guys know. The AI does come for you ruthlessly.
Right. So just to give some context, this is the free for all version of the game that we're testing, the free for all, because we really want to have as much interaction as possible, with the players, like playing the game and testing out the combat. So we really want some good feedback. So we kind of had this free for all set it up so we can really test it. We don't have a limit. Like, you can lose all your four Kubberz and they will respawn for now, at least. So like again, like I said, so we can test it a little bit more. But it's gonna be pretty crazy, I think.
Yeah, I can see there's fights going all around me.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool though, seeing just all the different fights going on in the background and coming in and third party in them.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I suppose I could use this opportunity to ask you guys a little bit about what is your design philosophy with Kubberz? I mean, and by that I mean, like, what kind of a game do you want to be going for? You want to be going for more of a competitive feel or more of a casual feel? Like, what kind of feeling are you aiming for?
Right. Yeah. So the first, the main inspiration for Kubberz, I think it's very similar to some other games that have very similar idea from they're being developed right now, which is the Pokemon generation fan game that was released like a long time ago, like 2012, I think. And the main goal of the game is so we can have an open world that people can explore and catch Kubberz, collect them. I think that's one of the main goals of the game. But we do want to have a very decent PvP where people can not only have fun but have some competitive gameplay. So I would say a little bit of both, but our major goal, although we're testing the combat first, because this is kind of the core thing of the game, right?
It's like the backbone.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I feel like if I would have to answer, I would say our main goal is to have this open world with a very, with the storyline that you can follow through and play with your friends. But of course we want to have some level of competition. So we're trying to balance things out as much as possible. But yeah, I would say that the casual would be the main goal.
And about that whole open world idea, is there anything more that you can share about that, or is that still too early in development to talk about?
No, I wouldn't say that's too early, because we already started developing the open world, but there are a lot of decisions that need to be made, so that's why I don't want to have like talk too much about it, because we might have to change some of the directions where we're going to, but definitely there are some things that we could say so far. So for instance, it won't be MMO, because a lot of people think that Kubberz that we're aiming for MMO, so like tons of people in the screen and a lot of people playing all together. But our idea is to make the TMO type of game, which is like you have people together with you, playing with you, but not that many people. So you're gonna have like probably at max 50 people in one server. And we are really like worried about, and we're really focusing on having a storyline, so almost like a single player experience for whoever like doesn't really like too much like the multiplayer part of things. So so we are really worried about those people that kind of enjoy the single player part of Monstertaming in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's nice that you're appealing to both crowds. Like you have some stuff for people who like multiplayer, and then you have the story for people who don't. I feel like there's not a lot of games that cater to the multiplayer aspect as much, especially not with this kind of gameplay. The 3D action gameplay is very rare, and it's just overall, I think you guys are doing some really good work here. So far, everything I've heard and everything I've seen definitely makes me excited.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
So one question I have is, I respawned out on a nice little pleasant island, and it was very scenic and everything. And then I just looked over and I saw this giant, colossal creature out in the ocean, and I have to ask, what's he doing out there? What is that thing?
I think Fabio can answer this one. Probably.
Yeah. Basically, this is one of the colossus. Is like basically one of the primordial creatures that will be present in the game. They're like the ancestors of the Kubberz. So we wanted basically to share him and show that there is much more than the Kubberz, and that the world is being built around that, and this kind of stuff. So at the moment, he's basically just staring and looking at what is happening, because
Yeah.
there's literally a platform in the middle of the ocean, and a lot of people fighting in it, and some kind of lab or the stuff. So he's kind of curious about what is happening there. So he can change. He can take actions about that further action later. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's basically what Fabio said, right? The point of having this is a Colossus, and the point is like more like showing a bit more of the universe without like spoiling too much, but having some extra features from the game that we want to add to the game later that are obviously in the future, but we're already working on it. So
yeah, he's definitely eye-catching.
That's the idea. They're like very important creatures in the world, so we want to share that they will be very important and further on the story and on the universe. So we wanted to share a little bit about some of the work we are doing that are not related to the gameplay itself, because this alpha, it's very focused on the gameplay, and we want to like get it on point before constructing building the entire world around it.
Yeah.
So we have an idea of what we want to do, but the gameplay is like the core part of everything, so we can have it working. And even the AI, because in the world, I don't know if I can say much more, but in we want the AI to be present in the world itself, and we want the player to be able to fight other AI and even interact with those colossus in some manner. So we are discussing about how this interaction will happen and the depth of this interaction, but we really want to share a little bit about that with the players.
And on the subject of the gameplay being the foundation and stuff, what made you guys decide to go with a real-time combat rather than a turn-based combat like so many others?
Yeah, like I said, I think the main inspiration was Pokemon Generation. So like it's very interesting because I remember of course Kindred Fates is one of the games that is also going to using that route of thought, the line of thought. But I was listening to I think it was a podcast sort of type of deal with Jim Leader Ed from one of the developers from Kindred Fates.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is exactly. It's so weird because it's literally the same inspiration, the same the same feeling even. Because like once I played Pokemon Generations back in the day, which of course was a fan game, I was not only in love with the idea of the mechanics. Of course, I think that mechanics are something that a lot of like people already thought about. You know, having a real-time combat type of monster taming, but seeing that work in such a nice way, which I think it's what Pokemon Generations did. You know, they did a pretty good job in introducing this idea. That's one of the things that really made us be in love with the idea of developing that kind of game. And since then, I've been waiting for a game to release that was like that. And because no one were actually developing it, we decided to do it ourselves. So yeah, I guess that's the main reason why we're doing real-time combat. I think that we need some fresh takes on monster taming. I think that I love turn-based. I don't have any problems with turn-based, but I just think that it does have a very, very good space for real-time combat. I think you know it's been overdue that some game does this. You know.
Absolutely. On that subject about the real-time combat, I would like to point out that I think you guys have done a pretty good job so far. Like, obviously you're still in alpha and everything, and I'm sure you have a long way to go and a lot of stuff that you would like to see improved and like to add that isn't here yet, and etc. But I do think that you've nailed the movement aspect, especially since the pre-alpha. One of my complaints about the pre-alpha was it didn't feel like there was enough movement, and I would like to applaud you guys because you guys really did listen to feedback really well, which is great. And I see, like, even the creatures, the Kubberz without... Kubberz is what they're called, right? The monsters?
Yeah. Well, we'll call them Kubberz, but yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay, so, even the ones without movement abilities, they still feel fine, and I think the movement abilities are so fun. This little electric guy, I'm not sure what his name is.
Capri.
Yeah, Capri. Yeah, his Q ability that lets him zigzag around. I love that. The animation is great on it. It feels really fun to use. So yeah, I think you guys are going in a really good direction with the combat right now.
Bisloba, just so you know, it probably went to a different screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to press ask because it's not working right now the screen. So we just press ask and go to the adventure mode again, and we can restart. But yeah, so about the system, absolutely, we did hear to feedback, and your feedback especially was one of the ones that we really took into consideration, and I agree that it was the pre-alpha was very because yeah, it was a bit tanky, right? I think it was a clunky. It would like be a little bit too slow pace for what I think the game should we should be aiming for.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely like try to do a lot of different things in order to make it more dynamic. I like you said, I think we still have things that we could do to improve it, but definitely we're much more proud of this new combat system that is a little bit fast paced than we were from the other one. I agree.
And then on the subject of design, I would like to say I really like the design of basically all the creatures I've seen so far. Like,
nice.
They look really cool, and I see that a lot of them are basically taking real world animals and then kind of redesigning them, which I'm actually a fan of. Like, I really like that. I do like a fantastical animal and stuff too, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. And but I really enjoy, like, this little armadillo looking guy right here. He might be my favorite I've seen so far.
Oh, he is my favorite.
He is my favorite too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tarsis can talk a little bit more about the art direction in general, but yeah, definitely we have some. I'm like, in my personal opinion, if I'm giving my personal opinion, it's not that I don't like the designs that are like more, I don't know, object oriented, or that are some like food or whatever. I think it's fine. You can definitely do this and be pretty good, but in my personal opinion, for personal taste, I prefer in general like creatures that are a bit more similar to animals. Some mixture of animals and something else. But I think Tarsis can talk a little bit more about that. I think.
Sure.
Yeah. I often say that Kubberz need to be simple and shiny, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
our goal for the animations, for the Kubberz, for the map itself, the anime style with the cartoon shades is our goal for the overall look of the project.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, but definitely, I really think that there is space for like other like different types of design. But yeah, I'm myself am a fan of the animal-like creatures. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's my favorite types as
And
well.
basically, we on this alpha we have only the first evolution of all these Kubberz.
Frist,
Mhm.
yeah,
So
Frist
they
version.
are, most of them are simple on the concept.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one is another thing too that brings to the balance, like even the because it's very interesting because we're developing the alpha and we were like, okay, should we make it as balanced as possible? So like if we have a like a 1v1 battle, should all Kubers have like kind of the same level of like
Of
same
strength.
same
Yeah.
yeah same strength and have the same results on average. um and it's a very tough thing because we want to have because we're developing the open world, we're developing like levels and skill trees and all that. It's very hard to even do this right now in a alpha stage, right? Because so many
Mhm.
things going to change. And if you like realize we have like cubers that are from different tiers, let's say, that are all together. So Gurox, for instance, is a high tier cuber. Gargarina is a high tier cuber, and a Griffin, because the first stage is like a low tier cuber, so to say.
Yeah.
And so you can see they're gonna have some disadvantage in that sense. But so yeah, even the balancing, it was very interesting to think about in the alpha because we definitely couldn't balance it too much because in the end of the day, you're gonna have some cubers that are a bit better than others, just because of the logic of if you're having an evolution, it should be a little bit stronger than its pre-evolution, etc.
Something else on the subject of balance that I think is really unique and is the ultimates. Like how you have the little ultimate there that you can charge up and use. And I was wondering if you could maybe walk us through the philosophy about why you guys chose to go with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
First, we were like in the first the pre-alpha, we were like very worried about mainly when you have only one cuber left. So sometimes all of your skills would be on cooldown, so you couldn't do much to survive. So we wanted to add a lot of other stuff to make viable playing only with one cuber. So the first thing that we thought was like, what if you'd add more skills? So there would be a better rotation of skills, and the ultimate kind of got into the same in this pack of things. So you first we had 4 skills. Some cubers had 3, but we wanted to have more. So the player could actually every single time have at least something to use in the battle. So then we came with the idea of a basic attack, and that you can with
Yeah.
the right button. And we kind of joined, we merged these two ideas, and on the subject of how the ultimate worked, we really use as a reference like games like Paladins and Overwatch,
Yeah.
because because you have to earn this before using. So we wanted the player to value more the skill and use it more carefully than you would with like some kind of common cooldown. So you see on like other MOBAs, so you just have like a big cooldown, and that actually makes you like, when I have the skill, I can use it whatever I want, and the timer would like start again. But when you have to earn that, you have to go through a process, so you value more what you're gaining from that. So we really wanted the player to have to earn those things during gameplay, so you value more skill-based gameplay. So if you play better, if you hit more and survive with your Cuber more and more, you'll be able to use more ultimates and be more effective, and that's directly related to the skill of the player.
Yeah, I do like that idea a lot because, to bring up another game that I have quite a bit of experience with, like you brought up before, is Kindred Fates has a similar, real-time action orientation, and it doesn't have an ultimate type thing that you can charge up though. And coming from that, which I've played quite a bit of, I do find that the ultimate is very appealing to me. I think that it's very nice
Yeah, it
to
gives
be
a
able
lot
to,
of personality for the Cuber.
Yeah.
The character.
And it just, it like you said, it feels like you're working up towards something. It adds an extra depth of strategy to it because you're like, okay, when am I going to use this? And it also just looks cool. The ones I've seen so far, they just really look awesome.
That's
it's
the
like,
most important thing. It looks cool.
So
yeah, we also wanted every Cuber to have like some kind of more strong skill to be used. So a cooldown wouldn't be like proper for that, because you either would have to have a big cooldown for that, like 40 seconds to use a skill, or we could like work on making an ultimate so you can like make something more. I wouldn't like to say that, but I think it kind of fits. Like something, if you want to make something like it's a little bit more OP. So if you want something like to give a very strong CC or a very high damage, we want that to matter on the battle itself. So the ultimate, I think it's a better way to doing that without the players thinking that, well, that Cuber just like deleted me because he like ulted and then came with some skill and just destroyed me. So in ultimate, he had to earn that. He had to survive with that Cuber, and there are several Cubers that are kind of fragile. So surviving with them, it's very hard. So we wanted to give that feeling and create more dynamic on the strategy. So you may have like a very very quickly, very speedy Cuber, but very fast Cuber, but you wouldn't be like that tanky. So you can farm ute on him, but he's like low life or something. You have to take this decision of, should I risk this Cuber and try to ultimate with him, farm more, or should I take another path, play more safely, use another Cuber and try to save that ultimate for later, or things like that. So this kind of took us, oh my god, to this path of making these ultimates work the way they do right now.
I think the ultimate also adds another layer on other game modes we are planning to do, like with team play, It will
that team play is
a lot.
That's gonna be like a center focus for sure. Like you guys mentioned, like Paladins or Overwatch or something. Those games, a lot of their team strategies revolve around the use of these specials. Yeah. And I think that's definitely going to add a ton of dynamic to team play, especially.
And absolutely, and I think there's even more to it, right? Because ultimates, they also help a lot in the sort of the diversity of options in general that you have. So I think Fabio said pretty well, because like that's exactly what we want to do. Have like make the decision making be a big part of it, and because we have the ultimates, I think they really add an extra layer to that. And plus they're pretty cool. Like I guess it's something that we can all agree on.
So about a little bit more behind the scenes on it, how exactly is it calculated how much progress you gain towards the ultimate? Is it about how much damage you do, or like how do you gain progress towards your ultimate? Is it based on like how much damage you do, or I've heard you say something about maybe how long you've been alive?
Yeah, we're planning to make at least for now, that may change, but we're planning on every player having a basic passive generation of this
Mhm.
ultimate. So even if you are not that skilled, you may use the ultimate during the gameplay. But you also want it to be related with, like, if we have a cuber that is more focused on support, for example, healing your teammates or yourself. Would generate ultimate. If you are like more tanky, tanking would be a pretty good way of generating ultimate. So basically, every matter of the combat kind of generates ultimate. Some generates more, like damage, but healing your teammates or yourself can generate a ultimate as well. And you're planning on doing things like I said, like tanking and other stuff, and the passive generation.
Yeah, I really like
Of
that.
things.
I like how you are gonna have multiple ways depending on your play style, like who you're gonna be playing. You'll be able to get it without just going in there and beating people up.
Yeah, no, and not only that, but also like because we're gonna have different modes, right, and different yeah, basically different game modes. Also, of course, this is gonna influence, right, because it will help people to be more likely to do the objectives in the game. So it's kind of an incentive. So even that it's a different way
Yeah.
to make that happen, right?
And as you said before, there's going to be a story mode to the game, and more. It's going to have some kind of single player aspect. And Ultimates, will they be available in that mode as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what direction you guys are going to be going in with like boss fights and stuff, but if you plan on having some big boss fights going on, I can imagine Ultimates coming into play in those, perhaps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Colossus
Definitely.
fight, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we really want to add those kind of things. So not only on the story mode, I mean, we have an open world, but we actually thinking on putting these colossus to be like some be friendly, some be not that friendly. So you may have to fight them with other players, or like on a single player, you have to fight one of them. Things like that. We want all these things to be to matter on all those circumstances. So if you're playing multiplayer, we want the ultimate to be useful. If you're like going to a boss fight and fighting uh, uh, some kind of threat to the world or something like that, this matter as well. So you can farm like different ultimates and use them all at the same time. Like we already playing or self-testing ourselves, we found out a lot of good stuff that could be used together. Like if you plan on using like Spintatas ultimate, you can combo it with other Kubberz ultimate, and you can combo with your friends or with yourself if you have the skill for it. Like if you ultimate with the Gargarina, you can like actually change to the like Spintata and go into the middle of the ultimate and like use your ultimate again. So this kind of combo, and we want this to matter on the gameplay itself, the combat, and boss fights, single player, multiplayer, every like part of the combat. We want that to work well and be very well designed and actually be useful. Not only like random things that are stronger that you use, and that's it.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, we can already like kind of do. We already have some ultimates that kind of work together. You know, if you're, of course, this is not a team game right now. It's a free for all. But if you're playing a team game, or if you're playing, or if you're able to like Fabio said, to interact with your own cubers, like your cubers interact with each other. We can already see some pretty good combos, you know, and all that. So it's really about strategizing with like multiple ultimates and how to make them work better for you, you know.
Yeah, I can see that a lot of the game is going to probably end up being, I guess the meta is what I mean, is going to end up revolving around the ultimates. Like, I can see people both in fighting, in the PvE aspect, fighting the AI and the bots and stuff, or fighting other players. It's going to revolve a lot around the ultimates, and I think that's a good thing because it really sets this game apart from essentially every other monster taming game I've ever seen. In that way, is that it has a MOBA feel to it, you know, kind of like League of Legends or something, but without being a MOBA, if that makes any sense. And that's pretty unique. And I've always thought that a monster taming game that had something like that would work pretty nicely, and considering that, you know, I'm sitting here barely playing, like I played for less than an hour so far, and this is alpha, and I'm already having a bunch of fun, even though I'm sucking and getting beat up a lot, you know. It's still fun, and I think that is a really good mark for a game, is when you're losing, you're having fun. You know, that's a good sign.
Nice,
You know?
It's good to hear this.
One of the unique things we want to do with the gameplay design is it's actually a team, you know. Your composition is one team. So the team game modes is gonna be like not 4 players against 4 players. It's gonna be 4 teams against 4 teams. You understand that? So
yeah.
So it will gonna bring a lot of dynamic flow to the gameplay as a whole.
Yeah, like when you play those other like MOBAs and other shooters, for example, like Overwatch, League of Legends, and just all of the games, sometimes you have that feeling that, well, I'm playing like support, but my tank
Because you
is
can
not
be the
doing...
support, the tank.
The tank's not doing their job. It's his job. So I'm like losing because I can't do anything about it. So
Yeah.
But in this case, well, if the tank's not, if you have a tank, a main tank on your team, and
on your
and you're
box,
losing, you can actually do something about it. I mean, if one of the players bring like 4 tanks to the table, and you bring like 1, of course you won't impact that much as much as him, but at the same time you can make something about
it.
Yeah. So we want this to go in that way, so you don't... Team play will make your team better, I mean, with other players, but you can also do something and do other plays that combine with your own Kubberz. So if you have a tank, for example, you can tank for the team, even though you're not like
the main
person that wants to... Yeah. So, and I'm not saying that you should have a tank or something like that, or should have some, or if there should have someone with like 4 tanks. The composition could change depending on your strategy. You may want to have like 1 tank, 1 support, and 1 ranged DPS, and make everyone on your team have that as well, so everyone can tank a little bit. But you also can like go 4 tanks and make one of your friends go like full support, so you can have that more role feel to the game, if you want, of course.
Yeah.
So we actually saw that happening in other games, and playing that people playing with those games, playing those games, actually a lot of times they think things like that. So we wanted to mitigate that feel and give freedom to the player to actually do something about those things, and those things actually matter on the gameplay itself.
I think that is a very, very intelligent thing. Like, you guys are seeing a flaw in the games, and you're like, how can we fix this? And then you're actually putting in stuff that at least sounds like on paper, sounds like a really good idea. And I'm happy to hear that we have people thinking about this kind of stuff, because, you know, that's how great games get made. Is but you find something that's wrong with a different game that's already good, and then you improve upon it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, of course, there are. We add extra layers of complexity to that when because you have like balance things and balance problems and all that. But with that being said, we do think that it is worth because like Fabio said, it's something that we realize that not that many people are too worried about, right? They not that many games bring that to the table, so we really want to go for it and have that sort of like space where you can really try things out and try to figure out the best way to build teams and build strategies and all that. Yeah.
This is definitely this is getting me more and more excited the more we talk about it, which is again a really good thing when you have a game that you talk about, you get excited about and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very good to hear this. Yeah, we're super happy with that. And I one thing that I don't know, like I feel like it's missing in a lot of games nowadays is really that you have this formula, and I understand why you have like some barriers that people don't really, or at least some lines that people don't really cross. I understand this, but I do feel like some things, I feel like we could do better, in the end of the day, and sometimes people don't really, or developers don't really go for it because it's safer to do, to just kind of like follow the rule of development in general. So yeah, so I feel like we're trying to do this a little bit. Of course, we have our own limitations sort of for game development, that we can't really like go too far and be like impossible to even balance at a minimal level. But yeah, we want to have like this. We want to try to do this new like this extra layer to things, Did you guys? Did the game finish? I think I dropped. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the UI kind of bugged.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
and didn't show the end of the match.
Oh yeah, there it is. I was wondering. I couldn't use any powers, and I was like, what? But it's just alpha things. Yeah, it's just any alpha is gonna have problems, and that's just one little bug. It's absolutely normal and completely expected. You got to go into an alpha expecting stuff like that.
Unfortunately, of course, like sometimes we find some bugs that we need to fix, but we're pretty happy with the result, like compared to what we I think mostly compared to the pre-alpha. We had a lot of problems with the pre-alpha, like some bugs that were much more annoying, I guess. But this one, I think it's pretty decent in general. Haven't been too many problems.
Yeah, considering that like we made the pre-alpha kinda as a proof of concept, and when we noticed the strong points and the flaws, we we have to work upon that. So we basically remade the entire combat just to have that feeling that we wanted. We had that feeling that the game was a little bit slow, and you had to stop to do a lot of actions, and that was actually hurting the gameplay. So we wanted to make something a little bit more fast, a little bit more fast paced, but keeping that same immersive feeling that we're controlling that and having like the entire control of the actions of every cuber. And at the same time, we wanted the player to have that same feeling like other monster taming games have, like I have the control over the cuber, but at the same time you have the control over the person training the cuber. So you have control over when you want to take him out of the fight, when you want to bring another one to the fight, and all those stuff. So remaking the combat actually brought us this, and you could fix essentially a lot of problems with the combat that we had before, and think on new things, and allow more diversity of skills. You may have noticed that during the pre-alpha we had like a lot of skills that and a lot of skills that were dashes. Like we kept that, but we also wanted to add a lot of different stuff. So we have different projectiles, multiple projectiles, projectiles that like melee skills that gives you buffs, and we didn't have that before.
Yeah. I feel like to complement that, I also make things a little bit more unique, right? And I think it's the main point that we had some skills that were very similar for multiple cubers, and making things a little bit more unique was the main goal of adding things and changing them around.
Yeah, and I think that you can really feel the effort you guys put in to basically remake the combat from the ground up, and it has been really impactful, and it feels like a totally different game in the best way possible. It feels like you've made a huge improvement, and it makes me really look forward to seeing more of the Kubberz to play with and more abilities to play around with. And I am also extremely excited about the open world aspect. I do love PvP and stuff, don't get me wrong, but I also am a really big fan of open world exploration and whatnot, so that's something I'm looking forward to as well. I think I'm about all the time I really have, but I want to say thank you so much for talking with me and showing me this early access to the alpha. It has been really fun, and I mean that completely. I'm looking forward thoroughly to seeing more of the alpha in the future. Do you have any plans to release a open alpha at any point, or are you guys going to hold back on that?
No, we're gonna release it on the 29th
Okay.
of January. I think we haven't announced that, but yeah, you can be the first one to announce it. It's fine. No
Okay.
worries, because we're about to announce it. Yeah, so the 29th of January, we're gonna release the alpha for people to try out. Of course, the game is free to play, so you don't really need to worry about any like being wall or anything. Just go ahead and download so you can play it. And like we said, the main goal is getting a lot of feedback, as much feedback as possible, so we can improve on on things that we already worked. And yeah, I think I can speak for all the team that we're really glad that you took some time to play with us, and it's been very nice.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yep, and so you guys heard it, on the 29th, the alpha will be available for free for everyone. And is that going to be on Steam, or are they going to?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, on Steam.
Yeah, so yeah, you can look for Kubberz on Steam, or you can I can send you the link for the Steam page. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'll post the link in the description of this video as well for anyone who wants to look at it, maybe wishlist it and check it out. And for everyone who does decide to come, I will look forward to playing the alpha with people in the future, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. So
Nice,
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you guys later. And there you have it. That was Kubberz Alpha with a good few people from the dev team. Thank you again. If you guys watched the video this long into it, I would like to say thank you all again for having me, and thank you all for watching. This has been Monstertaming signing off. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.